Hello, teacher Allen Aquino, Allen Ricardo Aquino Trinidad. How are you? How are you today, teacher? Waiting for you. My name is Roman Concepcion Balam Cauich. I'm from Junucma, Yucatan, in Mérida. The subject is teaching English through translation. Grade the third quadrimester, growth and aim, right? On Sunday, June 12th and 2022, right? So I'm going to speak about that you write the different translates in English. For example, in the Romans understood and translation entail transformation the Romans term, and translation is done not only literally for a carrying across as by boat of material for our country to another, but also metaphorical for both in different translation and metaphoric transformation on Jerome's and St. Augustine sense for sense. Right. So after that, you are going to that's your recent work. Roman literature has turned into the actual translation as a fundamental defining feature of the Roman literature corpus. The focus of translation is not new, but the Romans and the scholars who have written about them acknowledge the Roman literature original in the approach, right? The translation Greek text. Roman literature was to already secondary, late imitated even the Roman musings of the paradox of taking the collective based on the literature. So what is the novel about that the Romans, right? Because the cosmopolitan city, what is a novel about the current approach is the understanding the Roman discourse on the origin of their literature until a complicated ideological battle, fraud with implication for their social, cultural, political thought. The recent scholarship has focused in their area on the literary production as tool for elite self-definitions. On the creative nature of what Rome's Luther and color translation on Rome's epigraphies and how Greek source texts are translated in Roman inscriptions. Writes, in another terms, I wants the modern approach to translate. For example, this is my map for me, and so and you writes to translations. And number one, philosophy, linguistics, literature studies, cultural studies, and language in engineering, right? For example, reading some topics about that to translate the hermeneutics, post-structuralism, and the constructions, and linguistics, semantics, programmatic, social linguistic, contrastive linguistic, corpus linguistic, cognitive linguistic, text discourse, everywhere. Literature story, poetic, rhetoric, literary criticism, narratology, critical discourse, analysis, competitive, and cultural studies and the film studies, language and power ideologies, gender studies, gate studies, history, post-colonialism, and language engineering, and machine translation, corporal terminology, lexicology, and multimedia, right? So you imagine the modern approach to translate, right? So in another case, they translate into the history, a brief history of machine translate and rule-based machine translations, 95, and MVMT, example-based machine translation, is the 80s and 90s, and SMT, statistical machine translations, word bases, and syntaxis bases, and phrases bases, SMT, right? NMT, neutral machine translation, RNN, LSTME, 2015, right? So it's a very good idea, right? So through the history. So continue. Translatability lexicons, unique words concept emerging from relevance. The relevance right give to perceptual realities, experiential realities, conceptualizations, ontologic style. So you appear in this in imagines about the love for babies, and when somebody invite you and some have a dinner, right? For example, I conceptual realities, experiential reality, conceptualizes an emotion, right? So the next in this case is comprehensibility and translability. Translability, a relative notion and has to do with the extent to which meaning can still be adequately expressed across language. But for his to be possible, meaning has to be understood not only in terms of what the source text contains, but also an equality significantly in terms of such factors and communicate purpose target audience and purpose of translation. So that is my explanation for to understand for the educational video. Is I understand that your readings and the chapter ones is very interesting. This subject is very interesting. Okay, teacher Allen, my farewell for you, and see you later. See you next week. Right. Thank you, teacher Allen.